Welcome to BVU Theater Remembers, the wit and wisdom of Shakespeare in replay. I'm Bethany Larson.
And I'm David Walker. To commemorate University Theater's department as it comes to an end, we're showing a series of BVU's past Shakespeare productions, accompanied by recent clips of theater alumni performing monologues and telling us memories of their time here in the department.
Joe Titcomb stars in this monologue from Hamlet.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns the patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might make his quietest make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, for whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all. And thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action.
Next, we have Naomi Ziller performing a monologue from Much Ado About Nothing and sharing some of her memories of the theater department.
Hi, my name is Naomi Poyce. I was Naomi Ziller back at Buena Vista. I graduated in 2001, and the line that I'm going to give you is from Much Ado About Nothing. It is a watch line from 3-3. Call up the right master constable. We have here recovered the most dangerous piece of lettering known in the Commonwealth. That's it. Small one. The memory that I wanted to share is, I think it was actually after Much Ado About Nothing, after strike was done and Doc had done his mopping of the stage to the ghost light. Normally we would commence with some fun backstage with our cast party, and the professors usually left relatively early in the evening, knowing that lots of college antics would be occurring later. But for whatever reason, that particular night, Doc hung around, and normally people would wait to crack open their beers and start drinking until the grown or adults would leave. But it was clear that he wasn't going anywhere, and so beers started to get cracked open, and we all circled around, and Doc told stories, and he told stories for at least an hour, maybe even more. And I just remember, I don't remember the stories at all, but I remember laughing so hard, and it was just one of my absolute favorite memories. I think I was a senior that year, and so it just felt like such a great way to end my experience at Buena Vista, because it was such a community to me, and that's what I loved about BV Theater. So thanks for including me, and I hope this is all really fun.
Thank you, Joe and Naomi. This week, we are viewing BVU's production of Much Ado About Nothing from the year 2000.
You know, one of the interesting things is we saw Naomi, but this was her first on-stage encounter. She'd been a tech kid for me for many of a production, and finally it's like, nope, you can't be a tech anymore. You have to go and audition. And she's like, "Arr!" And afterwards she loved it.
Yeah.
And so, and then she went on to, in her history world, to actually work with a lot of kids on History Day and turning them into a bunch of little actors.
Yes.
And so it was like, that was, you know, that was okay. That worked out quite well.
Now see, that production was set in like the 1890s, one of my favorite periods to costume and properties. Like we found the old tennis rackets because, you know, these are elegant men, you know, and elegant women. It was so much fun. And if I'm remembering correctly, you had a water feature on the stage.
Yes, we did. And we'll talk about the set after we get through the show.
Okay.
So sit back and do nothing but enjoy the show as we watch BVU's Theater's 2000 production of Much Ado About Nothing.
I learned in this letter that Don Pedro of Aragon comes this night to Messina.
Very nearby. This he was not 3 leagues off when I left him.
How many gentlemen have you lost in this action?
Few many souls, not a many.
A victory is twice itself, and his eager brings home full numbers. I find here that Don Pedro hath bestowed much honor on a young Florentine called Claudio.
How deserved on his part, he to be remembered by Don Pedro. He hath thought himself beyond the promise of his age, doing the figure of a lamb that feeds the lion. He hath indeed better expectations than you must expect from me to tell you how.
He hath an uncle here in Messina, and will be very much glad of it.
I've already delivered him letters and have given much joy in him. Even so much joy cannot show itself modest enough without a badge of bitterness.
Did he break out into tears?
Great
A kind overflow of kindness. There are no faces truer than those that are so washed. How much better it is to weep at joy than to joy at weeping.
I pray you, is Signor Montanto returning from the wars or no?
I know none of that name, lady. There is none army of any sort.
What is he that you ask for, niece?
Oh, my cousin means Signor Benedict of Padua.
He is returned, pleasant as ever he was.
Oh, he set up his bills here in Messina and challenged Cupid at the flight. And my uncle's fool, reading the challenge, subscribed for Cupid and challenged him at the brothel.
Faith, niece, you tax Signor Benedict too much, but he'll be mean with you, I doubt it not.
He hath done good service, lady, in these wars.
You had a musty victual, and he hath helped to eat it. He is a very valiant Frenchman. He hath an excellent stomach.
And a good soldier, too, lady.
And a good soldier to a lady, but what is he to a lord?
A lord to a lord, a man to a man, stuffed with all honorable virtue.
It is so. He is indeed no less than a stuffed man. But for the stuffing, well, we are all mortal.
You must not mistake my niece. There's kind of a merry war between Signor Benedict and her. They'll never meet, but there's a skirmish of wit between them.
Alas, he gets nothing by that. In our last conflict, 4 of his 5 wits went hauling off, and now is the whole man governed with 1. So that if he have enough wit to keep himself warm, let him bear it for a difference between himself and his horse. For it is all the wealth the man hath left to be known a reasonable creature. I pray you, who is his companion now? He hath every month a new sworn brother.
Is it possible?
Oh, very easily possible. He wears his faith to the fashion of his hat, and never changes with the next block.
I see, lady, the gentleman is not in your book.
No, and if he were, I would burn my study. But I pray you, who is his companion?
Most in the company of the right noble Claudio.
Oh, Lord! He will hang upon him like a disease! He is sooner come in the Claudio, if he has caught the Benedict, it will cost him £1,000 ere he be cured.
I will hold friends with the lady.
Ah, do good friend.
You will never run mad, niece.
Oh, not till about January.
Don Pedro's approach.
Signor Leonato, the fashion of the world is to avoid cause, and you encounter it.
Never came trouble to my house by the likeliness of your grace. For trouble be a dog, comfort should remain. But when you depart from me, sorrow abides and happiness takes its leave.
I think you take your charge too willingly. I believe this is your daughter.
Her mother hath many times told me so.
Were you in doubt, sir, that you asked her?
No, Signor Benedict, for then you were a child.
You have it full, Benedict. We may guess by this what you are, being a man. Truly, the lady fathers herself. Be happy, lady. You're like a most honorable father.
Signor Leonato would not be her father if she had all his head on her shoulders, for all Messina is like him as she is.
I wonder if she will still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you.
My dear Lady Disdain, are you yet living?
Is it possible Disdain should die while she hath such meat food as feeded to Signor Benedict? Courtesy itself must convert to disdain if you come in her presence.
Then courtesy is a turncoat. But it is certain I am loved of all the ladies. Only you excepted. And I would that I could find in my heart that I had not a hard heart, for truly I love none.
A dear happiness to women. They would also have trouble with the pernicious suitor. I thank God in my cold blood I am of your humor for that. I'd rather hear my dog bark at crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall escape a predestinate scratch.
Scratching could not make it worse, and 'twere such a face as yours were.
You are a rare parrot teacher.
A bird of my tongue is better than a beast of yours.
I would my horse had the speed of your tongue and so good a continuer. But keep your will, a God's name. I have done.
Oh, is it teacher? I know you're old.
That is the son of all, Leonato. Signor Claudio, Signor Benedict, my good friend Leonato hath invited us all. I tell him we should stay at least a month. He heartily prays that some occasion may detain us longer, and I dare swear he is no hypocrite, for he prays from his heart.
Oh, if you swear, my lord, you shall not be forsworn. Let me bid you welcome, my lord. Be it reconciled to the prince your brother, I owe you all duty.
Thank you. I'm not of many words, but I thank you.
Pleasing your grace, lead on.
Put your hand, Leonato. We will go together.
Benedict, didst thou note the daughter of Signor Leonato? I noted her not, but I looked on her.
Is she not a modest young lady?
Do you ask me as an honest man for my simple and true judgment, or would you have me speak after my custom as a professed tyrant to their sex?
No, I pray you, speak in sober judgment.
In faith, methinks she's too low for a high praise, too brown for a fair praise, and too little for a great praise. Only this accommodation can I forward her, that were she other than she is, she were unhandsome, and being no other but as she is, I do not like her.
Thou thinkest I am in sport. I pray thee tell me truly how thou likest her.
Wouldst thou buy her, that you inquire after her?
In the world buy such a jewel?
Come, in what key shall a man take thee to go into the song?
In mine eye, she's the sweetest lady I ever looked on.
I can see it without spectacles, and I see no such matter. Look, there is her cousin, and were she not possessed with a fury, exceeds her in beauty as the 1st of May doth the last of December. Pray, you have no intent to turn husband, have you?
I would scarce trust myself. Though I had sworn the contrary, Hero would be my wife.
In faith, is come to this. Hath not the world one man that will wear his cap in suspicion? Jeez. I do not believe you. It can be done. Good Don Pedro should be coming soon. Oh, there he is, returned to seek you.
What secret hath held you here that you follow not to Leonato's? I would your grace would constrain me to tell. Well, I charge thee on thy allegiance. You see, Claudio, I can be as secret as a dumb man. But on my allegiance, mark you this, on my allegiance, he is in love. With who? Well, that's your grace's part. Mark how short his answer is. With Hero, Leonato's short daughter.
If this was so, so were it uttered.
Like the old tale, my lord, 'tis not so, nor 'twas not so, but God forbid it should be so.
If my passion change not shortly, God forbid it be otherwise.
Amen. For if you love her, the lady is very well worthy.
You speak this to fetch me in, my lord.
By my troth, I speak my thought.
In faith, I spoke mine.
By my two faiths and troths, my lord, I spoke mine.
That I love her, I feel.
That she is well worthy, I know. I neither know how she should be loved, nor know how she is worthy, is the opinion that fire cannot melt out of me. I will die with it at the stake. Thou was never an obstinate heretic in the despite of beauty,
And never could maintain his part in the force of his will.
that a woman bore me, I thank. That she brought me up, I likewise give her most humble thanks. But that I will hang my bugle in an invisible baldric, all women shall pardon me. Because I will not do them the wrong to mistrust any. I will do myself the right to mistrust none. And the fine is, for which I may go the finer, I shall live a bachelor. I shall see thee, ere I die, look pale with love, with anger, with sickness, with hunger, my love, not with love. Prove it ever I lose more blood again drinking than I will get again in love. Pluck out mine eyes with a ballad maker's pen, and hang me at the door of a brothel house for the sign of blind Cupid. Well, if ever thou dost fall from this faith, thou wilt prove a notable argument. If I do hang me in a bottle like a cat and shoot at me, and he that hits me, let him be clapped on the shoulder and called Adam. Time shall tell, in time the savage bull doth bear the yoke. The savage bull, but if ever the sensible Benedict bear it, pluck out the bull's horns and set them in my forehead, and let them be vilely painted in as great letters as they write, here may you find a good horse for hire, let them signify under my sign, here may you see Benedict, the married man.
If this would happen, thou wouldst be horn mad.
He will temporize with the hours. In the meantime, Signor Benedict, repair to Leonato's, commend me to him. Tell him I shall not fail him at supper, for indeed he has made great preparations. May have matter enough in me for such an embassy. So I commit you
To the tuition of God from my house, if I had it.
the 6th of July, your loving friend, Benedict. Mock not. The body of your discourse is often guarded with fragments, and the guards of it slightly basted on neither. Are you allowed to attend any further? Examine your conscience. So I leave you.
My liege, your highness may not do me good.
My love is thine to teach it but how, and thou shalt see how apt it is to learn any good deed that will do thee good.
Hath Leonato any son, my lord?
The hero's his only child, she's his only heir. Dost thou affect her, Claudio?
My lord, when you went onward on this ended action, I looked on her with a soldier's eye. That liked, but had a rougher task in hand than driving life into the name of love. Now I am returned, and is forethought to let the places vacant. In their rooms come thronging soft and delicate desires, all prompting me how fair young hero is, saying I like to earn much rewards.
You'll tire the hero presently with the book of words. Thou dost love hero, cherish it. I will break with her and her father, and thou shalt have her. Was it not to this end that thou beganst to twist so fine a story?
How sweetly you do minister to love, that you know love's grief by his complexion. Yet, lest my liking too sudden seem, I would have solved it with a longer treatise.
What need the bridge much broader than the flood? The fairest grant is the necessity. Look, what will serve as fit? 'Tis once thou lovest, and I will fit thee with the remedy. There shall be some reveling tonight, and I will assume thy part in some disguise, and tell fair hero that I am Claudio. Then in her bosom I'll unclasp my heart, and take her hearing prisoner with the force and strong encounter of my amorous tale. Then to her father will I break, and in conclusion she shall be thine. In practice, let us put it presently.
How now, brother? Where's my cousin, your son? Hath he provided this music?
He's very busy about it. But, brother, I can tell you strange news that you yet dread not of.
Are they good?
As the event stamps them, but they have a good cover. They show well outward. The Prince and Count Claudio walking in a thick alley in mine orchard were thus much overheard by a man of mine. The prince discovered to Claudio that he loved my niece, your daughter, and meant to acknowledge it this night in a dance. And if he found her according, meant to take the present time by the top and instantly break with you of it.
Hath the fellow when he went that told you this?
A good sharp fellow. I will send for him and question him yourself.
No. We will hold a dream till it appear itself, but I will acquaint my daughter withal that should be better prepared for an answer if peradventure this be true. Go you and tell her of it. Cousin, you know what you have to do. Oh, I cry you mercy, friend. Go you with me and I will use your skill. Good cousin, have a care this busy time.
What the good year, my lord? Why are you thus out of measure sad?
There is no measure in the occasion that breeds. Therefore, the sadness is without limit.
You should hear reason.
And when I've heard it, what blessing brings it?
Not a present remedy, at least a patient sufferance.
I wonder that thou, being as thou sayest thou art born unto Saturn, goest about to apply a moral medicine to a mortifying mischief. I cannot hide what I am. I must be sad when I have cause, smile at no man's jests, eat when I have stomach, and wait on no man's leisure, sleep when I am drowsy, and tend on no man's business, laugh when I am merry, and claw no man in his humor.
Yea, but you must not make the full show of this until you may do it without controlment. You have of late stood out against your brother, and he hath taken you newly into his graces, where it is impossible that you should take true root, but by the fair weather you make yourself.
I'd rather be a canker in a hedge than a rose in his grace, and it benefits my blood to be disdained of all than to fetch in a carriage to rob a love from any. In this, though I cannot be said to be a flattering, honest man, it must not be denied that I am a plain dealing villain. I am trusted with a muzzle, enfranchised with a claw. Therefore I have decreed not to sing in my cage. If I had my mouth, I would bite. If I had my liberty, I would do my liking. In the meantime, let me be that I am, and seek not to alter me.
Is there no use for your discontent?
I make all use of it, for I use it only. Who comes here? Ah, what news, Rocio?
I come yonder to a great supper. The prince, your brother, is royally entertained by Leonato, and I can give intelligence of an intended marriage.
Will it serve for any model to build mischief on? What is he for a fool that he shows himself to unquietness?
Mary, it is your brother's right hand.
Who? The most exquisite Claudio?
Even he.
A proper squire. And who? What way looks he?
Mary, one hero, the daughter and heir of Leonato.
Very forward march, chick. How came you to this?
I went me behind the arras, and there I heard it agreed upon that the prince should woo hero for himself, and having obtained her, give her to Count Claudio.
Come, let us thither. This may prove food to my displeasure. That young startup hath all the glory of my overthrow. If I can cross him any way, I bless myself every way. You are both sure and will assist me.
To the death, my lord.
Come, let us to the great supper. Their cheer is the greater that I am subdued. Would the cook were on my mind. Shall we prove what's to be done?
We'll wait upon your lordship.
That gentleman looks. I never conceived that I am heartburned an hour after.
He is of a very
melancholy disposition. He were an excellent man that would make just the midway between him and Benedict. One is too like an image, he says nothing. And the other is too like my lady's eldest son, ever more tattling.
The half of Signor Benedict's tongue in Count John's mouth, and half of Count John's melancholy in Signor Benedict's face.
With a good leg and a good foot. and money enough in his purse. Such a man would win any woman in the world if he could get your goodwill.
By my troth, niece, thou will never get thee husband if thou be so shrewd of thy tongue.
In faith, she's too cursed.
Oh, too cursed is more than cursed. I shall lessen God's sending that way. For it is said, God sends a cursed cow, short horns.
Oh, my.
But to a cow too cursed, he sends none.
So by being too cursed, God will send you no horns.
Just if he send me no husband, for the which blessing I am at him upon my knees every morning and evening. Lord, I could not endure a husband with a beard on his face. I'd rather lie in woolen.
You may light on a husband that hath no beard.
Oh, and what shall I do with him? Dress him in my apparel and make him one of my waiting gentlewomen. He that hath a beard is more than a youth, and he that hath no beard is less than a man. And he that is more than a youth is not for me, and he that is less than a man, I am not for him. Therefore, I will even take 6 pence in earnest of the beard, and lead his apes into hell.
Well, then go you into hell?
No, but to the gate. And there will the devil greet me, like an old couple, with horns on his head, and say, "Get into heaven, Beatrice! Get into heaven! Here's no place for you maids." So deliver I up my apes, and away he take Peter. For the heavens he shows me where the bachelors sit. And there we live as merry as the day is long.
Well, niece, I trust you'll be ruled by your father.
Yes, faith, it is my cousin's duty to make a courtesy and say, "Father, as it please you." But yet for all that, cousin, make him a handsome fellow, or else make another courtesy and say, "Father, as it please me."
Well, niece, I hope to see you one day fitted with a husband.
Not till God make men of some other metal than earth. Would it not grieve a woman to be overmastered by a piece of valiant dust? To make an account of her life to a clod of wayward marl? No, uncle, oh none. Adam's sons are my brethren, and truly I hold it a sin to match in my kindred.
Daughter, remember what I told you. If the prince do solicit you in that kind, you know your answer.
The fault will be in the music, cousin, if you not be wooed in good time. If the prince be too important, tell him there is measure in everything, and so dance out the answer. For hear me, hero, wooing, wedding, and repenting is as a Scotch jig, a measure, and a single pace. The first suit is hot and hasty, like a Scotch jig, and full as fantastical. The wedding, mannerly modest, full of state and pageantry. And then comes repentance, with his bad legs, falls faster and faster into the single pace until they sink into his brain.
Cousin, you apprehend passing truly.
I have a good eye, uncle. I can see a church by daylight.
The rower's direction, brother. Make good room.
Lady, will you walk about with your friend?
So you walk softly and look sweetly. I'm yours for the walk. And especially when I walk away.
With me by your side?
I may say so when I please.
When please you to say so.
When I like your favor, God defend, the lute be like the cake.
My visor is Philemon's roof, within the house is Jove.
Why then your visor? That.
Speak low if you speak low. I would you did like me.
So would not I for your own sake, for I have many ill qualities.
Which is one.
I say my prayers aloud.
Love you the better. May the hearers cry amen.
God match with a good dancer. Amen. God keep them out of my way when the dance is done. Answer, clerk. No more words. The clerk is answered. I know you well enough. You are Signor Antonio.
As word I am not.
I know you by the waggling of your head.
To tell you true, I am counterfeited.
Oh, you could not do him so ill well unless you were the very man. Here's his dry hand up and down. You are he. You are he.
As word I am not.
Oh, come, come. Do you think I do not know you by your excellent wit? Can virtue hide itself? Don't you know you are he? Grace is both here and there is the man.
Will you not tell me who told you so?
No, you what?
Nor will you tell me who you are?
Not now.
That I was disdainful. That I and angers them. And then they laugh at him and beat him. I'm sure he's in the fleet. I would he ordered me.
I know the man, I will tell him what you say.
Do he'll but break a comparison or two on me, which peradventure not marked nor laughed at, strikes him into melancholy, and then there's a partridge wing saved for the full week, no supper that night. Oh, come, we must follow the leaders.
Every good thing.
Nay, they lead to any ill, I will leave them at the next turning.
Sure, my brother is amorous on Krull, and hath withdrawn her father to break with him about it. The ladies follow her, and but one visor remains.
And that is Count Claudio. I know him by his bearing.
Are you not Signor Benedict?
You know me well. I am he.
Signor, you are very near my brother in his love. He's enamored on Hero. I pray you, dissuade him from her. She is no equal for his birth. He may do the part of an honest man in it.
How know you he loves her?
I heard him swear his affection.
So did I too. He swore he would marry her tonight.
Come, let us to the banquet.
Must have to ride in the name of Benedict. But hear these ill news with the ears of Claudio. It is true. The prince woos for himself. Friendship is constant in all things, save the opposite affairs of love. Therefore, let all hearts in love use their own tongues. Let every eye negotiate for itself and trust no agent. But beauty is a witch against whose charms faith melted into blood. This is an accident of hourly proof which I mistrusted not. Farewell, therefore, hero.
Count Claudio,
Yea, the same.
come, will you go with me?
Whither?
To the next willow county about your business. Come, in what fashion shall you wear the garland of? Around your neck, like a nurser's chain, or under your arm, like a lieutenant's scarf? You must wear it one way, for the prince hath got your hero.
I wish him joy of her.
Spoken like an honest drovier. So they sell bullocks. But did you think the prince would have served you thus?
I pray you leave me be.
Now you strike out like a blind man. 'Twas the boy that stole your meat, and now he has beat the post.
If it will not be, I'll leave you.
Alas, poor hurt fellow, now he will away into the sedges. That my Lady Beatrice should know me, and not know me. This fool, ha! May be that I go under that title because I am married. But I am not so apt to do myself wrong. Be revenged as I may.
Good signor, where's the count? Have you seen him?
Truth, my lord, I have played the part of Lady Fame. I found him here as melancholy as a lodge forlorn, and I took him with him. I believe I told him true that your grace had got the goodwill of this young lady, and I offered him my company to the willow tree, either to bind him up a rod, or to make him a garland as of being forsaken, or to be whipped.
To be whipped. What's his fault?
The flat transgression of a schoolboy who, upon finding a bird's nest, shows it his companion, and he sleeps.
Dost thou make a trust to transgression? The transgression is in the stealer.
Yet it had not been amiss the rod had been made, and the garland too, for the garland he might have worn himself. For the rod he might have bestowed on you, who, as I take it, have stolen his bird's nest.
I but teach them to sing, then restore them to their rightful owner.
If their singing answer your saying, then by my faith you say honestly.
I hear Lady Beatrice has a quarrel to you. The gentleman that danced with her told her she is much wronged by you.
She is to use me past the endurance of a block. No, but with one green leaf on it would have answered her. My very visor began to pink on life and scold with her. She told me, not thinking I had been myself, that I was the prince's jester. Something jest upon jest with such impossible conveyance that I stood like a man at a mark with a whole army shooting at me. She speaks poignards and every word stabs. Her breath was terrible as her terminations. There were no living near her. She would infect to the North Star. I would not marry her, though she were endowed with all Adam had left before he transgressed. I would to God some scholar would conjure her,
For while she is here, a man may live as quiet as hell is in a sanctuary, and people sin upon purpose because they go thither. So indeed, all this quiet horror and perturbation follows her. Look, here she comes. Will your grace and then be any service to the world's end? I will go now on the slightest errand to the antipodes that thou devised to send beyond. I will fetch you a toothpicker from the furthest edge of Asia. I will bring you a hair from the great Sham's beard. Do you any embassage to the pygmies rather than hold three words conference with this harpy? Have you no employment for me?
None, but to desire your good company.
God, here is a dish I do not desire. Cannot adore my lady tongue.
Come, lady, come. You've lost the heart of Senior Benedict.
Indeed, my lord. He lent it me a while, and I gave him use for it. Double heart for a single one. Marry, once before he wanted of me with false dice. Therefore your grace may well say I have lost it.
You have put him down, lady. You have put him down.
So I would not he should do me, my lord. I have brought Count Claudio, whom you sent me to seek.
How now, Count? Wherefore are you sad?
Not sad, my lord.
Oh, how then? Sick?
Neither, my lord.
The Count is neither sad, nor sick, nor merry, nor well, but civil, Count. Civil as an orange, or something of that jealous complexion.
In faith, I think your blazon to be true. Though if he be so, his conceit be false. Come, Count. I have wooed for thee, and fair hero is won. I have broke with her father, and his goodwill obtained. Name the day of marriage, and God give thee joy.
Count, take me and my daughter, and with her all my fortunes. His grace hath made the match, and all grace say amen to it.
Speak, Count! 'Tis your cue.
Silence is the perfectest held of joy. I were but little happy if I could say how much. Lady, as you are mine, I am yours. I give myself away to you and dote upon the exchange.
Oh, speak, cousin. Or, if you cannot, stop his mouth with a kiss, and let him not speak neither.
In faith, lady, you have a merry heart.
Ah, indeed, my lord. I thank it. Poor fool, it keeps on the windy side of the air. My cousin tells him in his ear that he is in her heart.
So she doth, cousin.
Good Lord, for alliance! Thus goes everyone in the world but I, and I am sunburnt. I may sit in a corner and cry hey-ho for a husband.
Lady Beatrice, I will get you one.
Oh, I'd rather have one of your father's getting. Hath your grace near a brother like you. Your father got excellent husbands if you may could come by them.
Will you have me, lady?
Oh. No, my lord, not unless I might have another for working days. Your grace is too costly to wear every day. But I beseech your grace to pardon me. I was born to speak all mirth and no matter.
Your silence most offends me. And to be merry best becomes you, for out of question you were born in a merry hour.
Indeed, no, my lord. My mother cried. But then there was a star dance, and under that was I born. Cousins, God give you joy.
Niece, will you look to those things I told you
Oh,
of?
I cry you mercy, uncle, by your grace's pardon.
By my troth, a pleasant-spirited lady.
There's a little of the melancholy element in her, my lord. She's never sad, but when she sleeps, and not ever sad then. For I've often heard my daughter say she often dreamed of unhappiness and wake herself with laughing.
She cannot endure hear tell of a husband.
Oh, by no means. She mocks rumors out of suit.
She would make an excellent wife for Senior Benedict.
Oh, Lord, my lord! If they were but a week married, they would talk themselves bad.
Country Claudia, when mean you go to church?
Tomorrow, my lord. Time goes on crutches till love has all its rights.
Oh, not till Monday, my dear son, which is hence just a seven-night and a time too brief too to have all things answered my mind.
Come, you shake your head so long of breathing. But I warn thee, Claudio, the time shall not go dully by us. In the interim, I shall undertake one of Hercules' labors, which is to bring Signor Benedict and the Lady Beatrice into a mountain of affection the one with the other. I would fain have it a match, and I doubt but not to fashion it, as you three will render such assistance as I will give you direction.
My lord, I implore you, though it cost me 10 night watchings.
And I, my lord.
And you too, gentle hero?
I will do any modest office, my lord, to help my cousin to a good husband.
Signor Benedict has not been the hopefullest husband that I know. Thus far can I praise him. He's of a noble strain, of approved valor and confirmed honesty. I will teach her to humor your cousin so that she falls in love with Benedict. And I, with your two helps, will so practice on Benedict that in spite of his quick wit and queasy stomach, he falls in love with Beatrice. If we can do this, Cupid is no longer an archer. His glory shall be ours. We are the only love gods. Go in with me, I'll tell you my drift.
It is so. The Count Claudio shall marry the daughter of Leonato.
Yea, my lord, but I can cross it.
Any bar, any cross, any impediment will be medicinal to me. I am sick in displeasure to him, and whatsoever comes before his affection ranges evenly with mine. How canst thou cross this marriage?
Not honestly, my lord, but so dishonestly that but so covertly that no dishonesty shall appear in me.
Show me briefly how.
I believe I told your lordship a year since how much I'm in the favor of Margaret, the waiting gentlewoman to Hero.
I remember.
Well, I can, any unseasonable instant of the night, appoint her to look out her lady's chamber window.
What life is in that to be the death of this marriage?
The poison of that lies you to temper. Go to the prince your brother. Tell him that he hath wronged his honor in marrying the renowned Claudio to one such as Hero.
What proof shall I make of that?
Proof enough to misuse the prince, to vex Claudio, to undo Hero, and to kill Leonato. Look you for any other issue.
Only to despite them, I will endeavor anything.
Go then. Find me a meet hour to draw Don Pedro and Claudio alone. Tell them that you know that Hero loves me, that you have discovered thus. They will scarcely believe this is not trials. Offer them instances, which will bear no less likelihood than for them to see me at her chamber window. Hear me call Margaret Hero. Hear Margaret term me Claudio. For in the meantime, I will so fashion the matter that Hero shall be absent. And there shall appear such seeming truth of Hero's disloyalty that jealousy shall be called assurance, and all the preparation overthrown.
Throw you this to what in first issue it can. I will put it in practice. Be cunning in the working this, and thy fee is 1,000 ducats.
Be you constant in the accusation, my cunning shall not shame you.
I will presently learn their day of marriage.
Boy, my chamber window lies a book. Bring it hither to me in the orchard.
I'm here already, sir.
I know that, but I would have thee hence and here again. I do much wonder how one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviors to love, will become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. Such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music in him but the drum and the fife. Now, he would rather hear the tabor and the pipe. I have known when he would walk 10 miles afoot to see a good armor. And now will he lie 10 nights awake carving out the fashion of his new doublet. When to speak plain, and to the point, like an honest man, a soldier. Now he has turned to orthography. His words are very fantastical banquet. So many strange dishes. Have I so converted to see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I will not be sworn, but let me transform me to an oyster, but by my oath, until he hath made an oyster of me, he shall never make of me such a fool. One woman is fair, yet I am well. Another wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, and yet I am well. But until all graces be in one woman shall never come into my grace. Rich she will be, that's certain. Virtuous I will never cheapen her. Fair or never look on her, mild or come not near me. And noble, or not I for an angel, of good discourse, an excellent musician. And her hair will be of whatever color it please God. I will hide me in the ark.
You seen what Benedict did himself? Very well. The music is ending. Come, Elizabeth, let us hear that song again.
Oh, good my lord, tax not so bad a voice to slander music any more than once.
It is the witness still of excellency to put a strange face in perfection. I pray thee sing, let me woo no more.
Because you talk of wooing, I will sing. Since many a wooer doth commence his suit, to her he finds not worthy. Yet he woos, yet will he swear he loves.
I pray thee, come, if that will hold longer argument, do so in notes.
Note this before my notes. There's not a note of mine that's worth the noting.
Well, these are the very crotchets that she speaks. Note, notes, forsooth, and noting.
Now, divine, and now will his soul be ravished. It is not strange that sheep guts shall have souls out of men's bodies. For horn for my money when all is done.
Sigh no more, ladies, ladies, sigh no more. Men were deceivers ever, men were deceivers ever. 1 foot on sea and 1 on shore. To one thing constant never, to one thing constant never. Then sigh not so, but let them go. And be you blithe and bonny, and be you blithe and bonny. Converting all your sounds of woe, converting all your sounds of woe to hey nonny nonny.
Then sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe, converting all your sounds of woe.
Song.
And an ill singer, my lord.
Nay, thou sing'st well enough for a shift.
Had he been a hound that would have howled thus, they would have hanged him.
Come, don't stop here, Elizabeth. Get us some excellent music. We shall have it tomorrow night at Lady Hero's chamber window.
The best I can, my lord.
Let's do so. Farewell. Come here then, Leonato. What was it you told me today that your niece Beatrice was in love with Signor Benedict?
Oh, I! Stock on, the foul sits. I never would have thought that lady would have loved any man.
Oh, nor I either. But most wonderful that she seemed so dote on Signor Benedict, whom she hath in all outward behavior seemed ever to abhor.
Is it possible? Sits the wind in this direction?
By my troth, my lord, I could not tell what to think of it, but that she loves him with an enraged affection. It is past the infinite of thought.
Maybe she doth but counterfeit.
Faith, like enough.
Oh, God, counterfeit? There was never counterfeit a passion that came so near the light of passion as she discovers it.
Why, what effects of passion shows she?
May thou well, this fish will bite.
What effects, my lord? She will sit you. You heard my daughter tell you how.
She did indeed.
Come, I pray you, you amaze me. I would have thought her spirits invincible to all assaults of affection.
Oh, I was sworn it had, my lord, especially against Benedict.
Be a go. I would think this a go, but that the white-bearded fellow speaks it.
Yeah, taking the infection. Hold it down.
Why? What? Has she made her affections known to Benedict?
No, and swears she never will. That's her torment.
She's true. So your daughter says, Shall I, who have so often counted him with scorn, write to him that I love him?
This says she is now what she's being to write to him. For she'll be up 20 times a night, and she will sit her in her smock until she read a sheet of paper. My daughter tells us all.
Now you talk of a sheet of paper. I recall a pretty jest your daughter told us of.
Oh, and when she had read it and was reading it over, she found Benedict and Beatrice between the sheets.
That.
Oh, she tore the letter in 1,000 halfpence, rallied herself that she'd be so embossed to write to what she knew would flout her. I measure him, says she, by my own spirit. I should love him if he would
Then down on her knees she falls, cries, sobs, beats her chest, tears her hair, prays, curses. Oh, sweet Benedict. God, give me patience.
She taught the deed. My daughter says so. And the ecstasy has so much overborne her that my daughter is sometimes afeared she will do a desperate outrage to herself. It is very true.
It is good that Benedict knew of it by some other. If she would not discover it.
He is a very proper man.
Oh, he doth indeed show some good outward happiness.
By God, in my mind, he is very wise.
Oh, he doth indeed show some sparks that are like wit.
And I do take him to be valiant.
Well, we will hear further of it from your daughter. Let it cool the while. I do love Benedict well, but I wish that he would modestly examine himself to see how unworthy he is, so good a lady.
My lord, William Walk dinner is ready.
If you do not dote on her upon this, I'll never trust my expectations.
Let there be the same net spread for her. That must your daughter and her gentlewoman carry. The sport will be when they hold one an opinion of another's dotage, and no such matter. That's the scene that I would see. It'll be merely a dumb show. Let us send her call him into dinner.
This can be no trick. The conference was sadly born. They had the truth of this from Hero. They seem to pity the lady. It seems her affections have their full bent. Love me? Well, it must be requited. I did never think to marry. I must not seem proud. Happier they would hear their detractions and can put them into mending. They say the lady is fair. It's true. And virtuous cannot reprove them. And wise, but for loving me. There's no addition to her wit, no great argument of her folly, for I will be horribly in love with her. I may by chance have some odd quirks and remnants of wit broken on me because I have railed so long against marriage. But doth not the appetite alter? A man loves the meat in his youth that he cannot endure in his age. Shall these quips and sentences and paper bullets of the brain awe a man from the career of his humor? No. The world must be peopled. When I did say I would die a bachelor, I did never think I should live till I was married. Beatrice. By this day she is fair. I do spy some marks of love in her.
Against my will, I am sent to bid you come into dinner.
Fair Beatrice, for your pains I thank thee.
I took no more pains for those thanks than you take pains to thank me. If it had been painful, I would not have come.
Then you take pleasure, then, in the message?
Yea! So much you may take upon a knife's point and choke a doll withal. You have no stomach. See
thank me. That's as much to say as any pains I take from you is as much as thanks. I will go get her picture.
Good Margaret, run thee to the parlor. There thou shalt find my cousin Beatrice proposing with the prince and Claudia. Whisper in her ear and tell her that I and Ursula walk in the orchard, and our whole discourse is all of her. Bid her steal into the pleached bower, where honeysuckles, ripened by the sun, forbid the sun to enter. There she will hide herself to hear our purpose. Now this is thy office. Bear thee well in it, and leave us alone. I will make her come, I warrant you presently. Now, Ursula, when Beatrice doth come, as we do trace this alley up and down, our talk must only be of Benedict. When I do name him, let it be thy part to praise him more than ever man did merit. My talk to thee must be of how Benedict is sick in love with Beatrice. Of this matter is Cupid's crafty little arrow made that only wins by hearsay. Now begin. But are you sure that Benedict loves Beatrice so entirely? What? So says the prince and my new betrothed lord. And did they bid you tell her of it, madam? They did entreat me to acquaint her of it. But I persuaded them, if they loved Benedict, to wish him wrestle with affection and never let Beatrice know of it.
Oh, why did you so? Doth not the gentleman deserve as full as fortunate a bed as ever Beatrice did couch upon?
Oh, God of love! I know he doth deserve as much as may be yielded to a man. But nature never framed a woman's heart, but prouder stuff than that of Beatrice. Disdain and scorn ride sparkling in her eyes, despising what they look on. And her wit values itself so highly that to her all matter else seems weak. Oh, she cannot love, nor take no shape nor project of affection. She is so self-endeared.
Oh, sure, I think so. And therefore it were not good she knew of his love, lest she make sport at it.
Why, you speak the truth. I never yet saw a man how wise, noble, young, rarely featured. But she would spell him backwards, so she turns every man the wrong side out, and never gives to truth and virtue that which simpleness and merit purchases.
Sure, such carping is not commendable.
No, and not to be so odd and from all fashions as Beatrice is cannot be commendable. But who should tell her of it? If I should speak, oh, she would laugh me out of myself, mock me into the air, press me to death with wit. Therefore, let Benedict, like covered fire, consume away in sighs, waste inwardly. It were better death than die with mocks, which is the baddest eye of tickling.
Yet tell her of it. Hear what she will say.
No, rather I will go to Benedict and counsel him to fight against his passion. And truly I'll devise some honest plan to sustain my cousin with. One does not know. Ill word may poison lightning.
Oh, do not do your cousin such a wrong! She cannot be so much without true judgment, having as swift and excellent a wit as she is prized to have, as to refuse so rare a gentleman as Signor Benedict.
He is the only man of Italy. Oh, always excepting my dear Claudio.
I pray you be not angry with me, madam. Speaking my fancy, Signor Benedict for shape, for argument, and valor goes foremost in report to Italy.
Indeed, he hath an excellent good name.
Oh, his excellence did earn it ere he had
loving hand. If thou dost love, my kindness shall incite thee to bind our loves up in holy band. For others say thou dost deserve, and I believe it better than reporting thee.
I do but stay till your marriage be consummate, then go I to Aragon.
I'll bring you to the Lord of your vouchsafe me.
He hath twice, thrice cut Cupid's bowstring, little hangman dare not shoot at him. He has the heart as sound as a bell, and his tongue a clapper. What his heart thinks, his tongue speaks.
Gallants! I am not as I have been.
Oh, so says I. Methinks you are sad.
I hope he be in love.
Hang him truant. There's no true drop of blood in him. If he be sad, he wants money.
I have a toothache.
Draw it.
Hang it. You must hang it first and draw it afterwards.
What, sigh for a toothache?
Where's but a humor or a worm?
Every man cannot master grief, but he that has it.
Yes, say I, he is in love.
Oh, there's no appearance of fancy in him, unless it is a fancy after strange disguises. To be a Dutchman today, a Frenchman tomorrow, or two countries at the same time. To be a German from the waist downwards, all slopes. A Spaniard from the waist upward, no doublet. Unless he hath the fancy of this foolery, as it appear he hath, he is no fool for fancy, as you would have it appear he is.
But if he be not in love with some woman, there's no believing old signs. Brushes his hat of mornings. What can that bode?
Hath any man seen him at the barber's?
No, but the barber's man hath been seen with him, and the old ornament of his cheek hath already stuffed tennis balls.
Indeed, he looks younger than he did by the loss of a mustache.
Nay, rubs himself with civet. Can you smell him out by that?
That's as much as say the sweet youth's in love.
The greatest note of it is his melancholy.
And when was he wont to wash his face?
Oh, that would I know too, I warrant one that knows him not.
All, and it is despite of his ill conditions, dies for him.
She shall be buried with her face upwards. This is no sign for a toothache.
Old Signor, will you walk with me? I have studied 8 or 9 wise words, which these hobby horses must not hear.
For my life, to break with him about Beatrice.
'Tis even so. Hero and Margaret have by this place their plots of Beatrice, and then the two bears will not bite one another when they meet.
My lord and brother, God save you.
Good day, brother.
If your leisure served, I would speak with you.
In private?
If it please you, yet Count Claudio may hear, for what I would speak of concerns him.
What's the matter?
Means your lordship to be married tomorrow.
Well, you know he does.
I know not that, when he knows what I know.
If there be any impediment, I pray you discover it.
You may think I love you not. But let that appear hereafter, name better to me by that I now will manifest. For, my brother, I think he holds you well in the dearness of his heart, hath hoped to effect your ensuing marriage. Surely suit ill spent and labor ill bestowed.
Why? What's the matter?
I came hither to tell you, and circumstance is shortened, for she has been too long a talking of. The lady is disloyal.
Who? Hero?
Even she. Leonato's hero, your hero, every man's hero. Disloyal? The word is too good to paint out her wickedness. I could say she were worse. Think you of a worse title, and I will fit her to it. Wonder not till further warrant. Go but with me tonight, you shall see her chamber window entered, even the night before her wedding day. If you love her then, tomorrow wed her. But it would benefit your honor to change your mind.
May this be so?
I will not believe it. Yet as I have wooed for thee to obtain her, I will join with thee to disgrace her.
I will disparage her no farther till you are my witnesses. Bear it coldly, but till midnight, and let the issue show itself.
Oh, day untowardly turned.
Mischief strangely thwarting.
Oh, plague right well prevented. So you will say when you have seen the sequel.
Here.
Are you good men and true?
Nay, or else if for pity they should suffer salvation, body and soul.
Nay, that were a punishment too good for them if they should have any allegiance in them, being chosen for the prince's watch.
We'll give them their charge, favorite Dogberry.
First, who think you to be the most desertless man to be constable?
Hugh O'Cake or George Seacole, for they can write and they can read.
Come hither, neighbor Seacole. God hath blessed you with a good name. To be a well-favored man is the gift of fortune, but to write and read comes by nature.
Both, which Master Constable?
You have. I know it would be your answer. Well, for your favor, sir, why give God thanks and make no boast of it. And for your writing and reading, let that appear when there is no need of such vanity. You are thought here to be the most senseless and fit man for Constable of the Watch. Therefore, bear you the lantern. This is your charge. You are to comprehend all Bagram men. You are to bid any man stand in the prince's name.
How if they will not stand?
Why then, take no note of him and let him go. And presently call the rest of the watch together and thank God you are rid of a name.
If he will not stand when he is bidden, he is none of the prince's subjects.
True, and they're to meddle with none of the prince's subjects. You shall also make no noise in the streets, for the watch to babble and to talk is most tolerable and not to be endured.
We will rather sleep than talk. We know it belongs to a watch.
Why, you speak like a most ancient and quiet watchman, for I cannot see how sleeping should offend. Only have a care that your bills not be stolen. Well, you are to call at the alehouses and bid those that are drunk get them to bed.
How if they will not?
Why then let them go until they are sober. It may make you not then the better answer. You may say they are not the men you took them for.
Well, sir.
If you meet a thief, you may suspect him, by virtue of your office, to be no true man. And for such kind of men, the less you meddle or make with them, why, the more is for your honesty.
If we know him to be a thief, shall we not lay hands on him?
Truly by your office you may, but I think they that touch pitch will be defiled. The most peaceable way for you, if you do meet a thief, is to let him show himself what he is, and steal out of your company.
You have always been called a merciful man, partner.
Truly I would not hang a dog by my will, much less a man who hath any honesty in him.
If you hear a child cry in the night, You must call to the nurse and bid her still it.
What? The nurse be asleep and will not hear us.
Then depart in peace and let the child wake her with crying. For the ewe that will not hear her lamb when it bays will never answer a calf when he bleeds.
Is there a
Stop! This is the end of the charge. You, constable, are to present the prince in own person. If you meet the prince in the night, you may stay him.
Neighbor lady, but I think I cannot.
5 shillings to 1 on it with any man that knows the statutes, he may stay him. Marry not without the prince be willing, for the watch ought to offend no man, and it is an offense to stay a man against his will.
Neighbor lady, I think it be so.
Well, good night. And there be any matter of weight chances, call up me. Keep your fellows' counsels and your own. Good night. Come, neighbor.
Oh, well, masters, we hear our charge. Let us sit here upon the bench until 2, and then all to bed.
One word more, honest neighbors. I pray you watch about Signor Leonardo's door. For the wedding being there tomorrow, there is a great coil tonight. Adieu.
Bless you.
Be vigilant. I beseech you.
What got it? There you go. Conrad! Conrad, I say!
Here, man, I'm at thy elbow. Stand thee close underneath this penthouse, for it drizzles rain, and I will, like a true drunkard, utter all to thee.
Some treason, masters. Yet stand close.
Know that I have tonight earned of Don John 1,000 ducats.
Possible any villainy should be so dear.
Thou should ask if any villainy should be so rich.
For when rich villains have need of poor ones will make what price they will.
I wonder at it.
That shows thou art unconfirmed. Oh, whoops. Thou knowest that the fashion of a cloak or a hat or a doublet is nothing to a man?
Yes, it's apparel.
I mean the fashion.
The fashion is the fashion.
Tush, I might as well say the fool's a fool. Dost thou not know what a deformed thief this fashion is?
I know that deformed. He's been a vile thief this 7 years. He goes up and down like it. Well, I remember his name.
Shh. Just thou hear somebody. No, 'twas the vein on the house.
Ah, seest thou not? I say what a deformed thief this fashion is. How giddily turns about all the hot bloods of 14 and 5 and 30. Sometimes like Pharaoh's soldiers in the Ricci painting. Sometimes like God Bells' priest in the old church window. Sometimes like the shaven Hercules in the smirched worm-eaten tapestry. Or it appears as codpiece is as massy as his club.
Yes, all this I see.
I see that the fashion runs on more well than the man.
Or art that not thou thyself getting with the fashion too, and have shifted out of thy tale into telling me of the fashion?
Not so neither. But know that I have tonight wooed Margaret, the waiting gentlewoman to Hero, by the name of Hero. She leans me on her mistress's chamber window. She bids me 1,000 times good night. I should first tell thee how the prince, Claudio, and my master, planted, placed, and possessed by my master, Don John, saw far off in the orchard this amiable encounter.
And thought they Margaret was Hero. Two of them did, the prince and Claudio. But the devil, my master, knew she was Margaret, and partly by his oaths, which did first possess them, and partly by the dark of night, which did deceive them. But chiefly by my villainy, away went Claudio enraged, swore he would meet her the very next morning at the temple, and there, in front of the entire congregation, shame her with what he saw o'ernight, and send her home again without a husband.
We charge you in the prince's name! Stand! Call up the right master constable! We have here recovered the most dangerous piece of lechery ever known in the Commonwealth! And I know one deformed. He wears a lot.
Masters! Masters!
Oh, you'll be made parade deformed court on court.
Masters, never speak, please. We pray you. May you let's go. We are likely to prove good the commodity being taken out of these men's bills. Commodity in question, I warrant you. Come.
I will, lady. I bid her come hither. Well. By my troth, I think your other rabato were better. Oh no, pray thee, good Meg, I'll wear this. By my troth, not so good, and I warrant your cousin will say so. Oh. My cousin's a fool, and thou art another. I'll wear none but this. I saw the Duchess of Milan's gown, they praise so. Oh, that exceeds, they say. 'Tis a nightgown in respect of yours. Cloth of gold and cuts, laced with silver and set with pearls, down sleeves and side sleeves and skirts, around underborne with a bluish tinsel. Oh, but for a fine, quaint, graceful, and excellent fashion, yours is worth 10 on it. Oh, God give me joy to wear it, for my heart is exceeding heavy. 'Twill be heavier soon, by the weight of a man. Art thou not ashamed? A flat lady of speaking honorably. Is not marriage honorable in a beggar? Is not your lord honorable without marriage? I would think you would have me say, saving you reverence a husband. And bad thinking do not rest your speaking. I'll offend nobody. Is there any harm in the heavier for the husband? None, I think. And it be the right husband for the right wife. Otherwise, 'tis light, not heavy. Ask my lady Beatrice, else here she comes. Good morrow, cousin! Good morrow, sweet hero. What? How now do you speak in the sick tone? Oh, I am out of all other tone, methinks. Come, cousin, 'tis almost 5 o'clock. 'Tis time you were ready. By my troth, I am exceeding ill. Hey ho. Or a hawk, a horse, or a husband. For the letter that begins with an all. H. Well, and you be not turned, Turk. There's no more sailing by the stars. What means the full trout? Nothing, I. But God gives everyone their heart's desire. These gloves the Count sent me are an excellent perfume. I am stuffed, cousin. I cannot smell. A maiden stuffed! There's goodly catching of cold. God help me, God help me. How long have you professed apprehension? Ever since you left it. Doth not by wit become me rarely. Ah, it is not seen enough. You should wear it in your cap. By my troth, I am sick. Get you some of this distilled Carter's Benedictus and lay it to your heart. 'Tis the only thing for a qualm. There, thou prickest her with that. That's all. Benedictus. Why Benedictus? You have some moral in this Benedictus. Oh, moral? No. By my troth, I'm a plain holy thistle. Now you may think, perchance, that I think you are in love. Nay, by our lady, I am not such a fool to think what I list, nor list not to think what I can, nor indeed I cannot think, for to think my heart unto making, that you are in love, or that you will be in love, or that you can be in love. Yet Benedict was such another, and now he has become a man. He swore he would never marry, and yet now he eats his meat without grudging. And how you may be converted, I know not. But methinks you look with your eyes as other women do. Oh! What is this place that I tongue keep? Not a false gallop. Madam, withdraw. The prince, the count, Signor Benedict Anton, and all the gallants of the town are come to fetch you to church. Oh. Help me! Good God! Oh, good Lord! Good Ursula! Wait!
Won't you with me, honest neighbor?
Marry, sir, I would have some confidence with you that discerns you nearly.
Brief, I pray you, for you see it's a busy time with me.
Marry as it is, sir.
Yes, in truth it is, sir.
What is it, my good friends?
Good man Burgess, sir, speaks a little off the matter. An old man, and his wits are not so blunt as, God help, I would desire they were, but in faith as honest as the skin between his brows.
Yes, I thank God that I was honest as any man living, that is an old man and no honester than I.
Comparisons are odorous. Palabrous, neighbor Burgess.
Neighbors, you are tedious.
It pleases your worship to say so, but we are the poor duke's officers. But for my own part, if I were as tedious as a king, I could find it in my heart to bestow it all of your worship.
All thy tediousness on me,
Yea, and 'twere 1,000 pound more than 'tis. For I hear as good exclamation on your worship as of any man in the city, and though I be but a poor man, I am glad to hear it.
And so am I.
I would fain know what you have to say.
Marry, sir, our watch tonight, accepting your worship's presence, obtain a couple of errant knaves as they need in Messina.
A good old man, he will be talking. God help us! It's a world to see. Well said, faith never Burgess. But God's a good man. And when two men ride of a horse, one must ride behind. An honest soul of faith, sir, by my troth he is, as ever broke bread. But God is to be worshipped. All men are not alike, alas, good neighbor.
Indeed, neighbor, he comes too short of you.
Gifts that God gives?
I must leave you.
One word, sir. Our watch, sir, hath indeed comprehended two suspicious persons, and would have them this morning examined before your worship.
Take their examination yourself and bring it to me. I am now in great haste, as it may appear unto you.
It will be subjects.
Drink some wine ere you go. Fare you well.
My lord, they say for you to give your daughter to him.
I'll wait upon them. I am ready.
Go, good neighbor. Go get ye to Francis Seacole and bid him bring his pen and come to the jail. We are now to examination these men.
And we must do it wisely.
We will spare for no wit, I warrant you. Here's us to bring some of them to non-come. Get the learned writer to set down our excommunication and meet me at the jail.
Walk like me.
Come, Friar Francis, be brief. Only to the plain for our marriage, and you shall recount our particular duties afterwards.
You come hither, my lord, to marry this lady?
No. Oh, to be married to her, Friar. You come to marry her.
Lady, you come hither to be married to this count?
I do.
If either of you know of any inward impediment on why you should not be conjoined, I charge you on your souls to utter it.
Know you any hero?
None, my lord.
Know you any count?
I dare make his answer none.
What men dare do, what men may do, what men dare do not knowing what they do.
How now, interjections? Why then some be of I. Ha!
Stand thee by, friar. Father, by your leave, will you with free and unconstrained soul give me this maid your daughter?
As freely, son, as God to give her me.
And what have I to give you back again, whose worth may counterpoise this rich and precious gift?
Nothing, unless you render her again.
Sweet prince, may you learn me noble thankfulness.
There, Leonato, take her back again. Give not this rotten orange to your friend. She's but the sign and semblance of her honor. See how like a maid she blushes here. Oh, what authority and show of truth. Can cunning sin cover itself with all? Comes not this blood as modest efforts to win his simple virtue? Would you not swear, all you that see her here, that she were made by his exterior shows? But she is not.
No.
She knows the heat of luxurious bed. Her blush is guiltiness, not modesty.
What do you mean, my lord?
Not to be married, not to knit my soul to an approved wanton.
Dear my lord, if you in your own proof have vanquished the resistance of her youth and made defeat of her virginity!
I never tempted her with word too large. But as a brother to his sister showed bashful sincerity and comely love.
It seemed I ever otherwise to you.
Out on thy seeming. I will write against it. You seem to me as Diana her orb, as chaste the butt e'er be blown. But you are more intemperate in your blood than Venus. All those pampered animals rage in savage sensuality.
Is my lord well that he doth speak so wide?
Sweet prince, why speak not you?
What should I speak? I stand as honored that I've gone about to link my dear friend to a common stale.
No!
Are these things spoken, or do I but dream?
Sir, they are spoken, and these things are true.
Looks not like a nuptial.
True! Oh God!
What man was he talked with you yesternight? Out at your window betwixt 12 and 1. Now if you are made answer to this.
I talked with no man at that hour, my lord!
Why then you are no maiden. I'm sorry you must hear, Leonato, but on my honor, myself, my brother, and this grieved count did see her, hear her, on that hour, talk with a ruffian at her chamber window, who hath indeed, most like a liberal villain, confessed the vile encounters they had had 1,000 times in secret.
Fie, fie, these things are not to be named, my lord. There is not chastity, enough in language without offense to utter them. Thus, pretty lady, I am sorry for thy much misgovernment.
O hero, what a hero hast thou been? How pure in piety and in pious purity. For thee I'll lock up all the gates of love, and on my eyelid to conjecture hang, turning all beauty into thoughts of harm, for never shall it more be gracious.
Hast no man dagger here a point for me?
Not now, hero. Wherefore you sink down?
Come, let us away. These things come thus to light, smother her spirits up.
How doth the lady?
Dead, I think. Help, uncle! Signor Benedict, fire, uncle!
O fate, take now away thy heavy hand. Death is the fairest cover for a shame that may be wished for.
Why not now, hero?
Have comfort, lady.
Dost thou look up?
Yea, wherefore should you not?
Wherefore? Why doth not every earthly shame cry upon her? Could she hear deny the story of pain in her blood? Do not live, hero. Do not open thine eyes. For I did think thou wouldst not quickly die. Thought I thy spirits were stronger than thy shames. Myself on the rear road approaches, strike at thy life. Grieved I had but one. Should I for that fruitful nature's frame? Oh, one too much by thee, why had I one? Why ever was so lovely in my eyes? Why had I not with charitable hand took up a beggar's issue at my gates?
who smirched us and mired with infamy, I might have said, no part of it is mine. This shame to rise itself from my own loins. Mine, and mine I love, and mine I praise, and mine I'm so proud of. Mine so much that I myself was to myself, not mine! Valuing of her, why she is fallen.
Sir, be patient. For my part, I am so tired of wonder I know not what to say.
On my soul, my cousin is belied!
Lady, were you her bedfellow last night?
No, truly not. Although until last night I had this 12-month been her bedfellow.
Confirmed! All that is stronger me, which was before burned on the ribs of iron. Where the two princes lie and Claudio lie, who lovers saw that speak of her foulness washed her with tears. Hence from her. Let her die!
Hear me a little, for I've only been silent so long. Given way in this course of fortune by noting of the lady, I've marked 1,000 blushing apparitions. 1,000 innocent shames, and angel whiteness beat away those blushes. In her eye hath appeared fire to burn away these airs that these princes hold against her maiden. Call me a fool. Trust not my readings from observations, which with experimental seal doth warrant the tenor of my book. Trust not my age, my reverence, calling nor divinity, if this sweet lady lie not guiltless here, in her sun-biting air.
Friar, it cannot be. Thou seest that all the grace she hath left is that she will not add to her damnation. A sin of perjury. She not denies it.
Lady, what man is he you are accused of?
They know that do accuse me. I know none. If I know more of any man alive than that which maiden modesty doth warrant that all my sins lack mercy. Oh, Father, prove you that any man with me conversed in hours unmeant, or that yesternight maintained the change of words with any creature. Refuse me. Hate me. Torture me to death.
There's some strangeness prison in the princes.
Two of them have the very bent of honor. If their wisdom be misled in this, the practice of it lies in John the Baptist. The spirits toil in tranquility.
I know not. If they speak but truth over these hands shall tear her. If they wrong her honor, the Protestant shall well hear of it. Time had not yet dried this blood of mine, nor age so eat up my invention, nor fortune made such havoc of my means, nor my bad life reft me so much of friends. But they shall find a waking in such a kind, will strengthen them in policy of mine. Ability means the choice of friends, to quit me of them thoroughly.
Pause a while, and let my counsel sway you in this case. Your daughter here, the prince, is left for dead. Let her a while be secretly kept in, and publish it that she is dead indeed.
What shall become of this? What will this do?
Mary, this well carried shall on her behalf change slander to remorse. That is some good, but not for that dream I on this strange course, but on this travail look for greater birth. She dying as it must be so maintained upon the instant she was accused, shall be lamented, pitied, and excused of every hearer. For it so falls out that what we have we prize not to be worth whilst we enjoy it, but being lacked and lost, why then we rack the value. Then we find the virtue that possession would not show us whiles it was ours. Soul affair with Claudio, and he shall hear she die upon his words. The idea of it shall sweetly creep into his study of imagination. And every lovely organ of her life shall come apparelled in more precious habit, more moving, delicate, and full of life, in the iron prospect of his soul, than when she lived indeed. And then he shall mourn if ever love had interest in his liver, and wish he had not so accused her.
Signor Leonato, let the friar advise you. And though you know my inwardness and love be very much unto the prince and Claudio, yet by my honor I will deal in this as secretly and justly as your soul should with your body.
Being that I flown grief, the swallow's twine may lead me.
'Tis well consented. For presently away, for to strange sores strangely they strain to cure. Come, lady, die to live. This wedding day perhaps is but prolonged. Have patience and endure.
Lady Beatrice, have you wept all this while?
Yea, and I will weep a while longer.
I will not desire that.
You have no reason. I do it freely.
Surely frankly, I do believe your cousin is wrong.
How much might the man deserve of me that would write her?
Is there any way to show such friendship?
A very even way. But no such friend.
May a man do it?
It is a man's office, but not yours.
I do love nothing in this world so well as you. Is that not strange?
As strange as a thing I know not. It were possible for me to say I love nothing so well as you, but believe me not. And yet I lie not. I confess nothing nor deny nothing. I am sorry for my cousin.
My sword, Beatrice, thou lovest me.
Do not swear and eat it.
I will swear by it that you love me, and I will make an edict that says I love not you.
Will you not eat your word?
No sauce that can be devised which I protest. I love thee.
Oh, then God forgive me.
Then, sweet Beatrice.
You have stayed me the happy hour I was about to protest I loved you.
Do so with all thy heart.
I love you with so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
Come, bid me do anything for thee.
Kill Claudio.
Not for the world.
Kill me to deny it. Farewell.
Sweet
I am
Beatrice.
gone though I am here. There is no love in you. May I pray you let me go. In fact, I will go.
We will be friends first.
You dare easier be friends with me than fight with my enemy?
Is Claudio thine enemy?
Is it not approved in the height of a villain that hath slandered, scorned, dishonored my kinswoman? Oh, that I were a man. What? Bear her in hand until they come to take hands, and then, with public accusation, uncolored slander, unmitigated rancor. Oh, that I were a man. I would eat his heart in the marketplace.
Hear me, Beatrice.
Top of the man out the window, a proper saying.
Nay, but Beatrice.
Sweet hero. She is wronged. She is slandered. She is undone.
Beatrice.
He is now as valiant as Hercules who only tells a lie and swears it. I cannot be a man with wishing. Therefore I will die a woman with grieving.
Very sweet Beatrice. By his hand I love thee.
Use it for my love in some other way than by swearing by it.
Think you in your soul that Claudio hath wronged Hero?
Yea, as sure as I have a thought or a soul.
Enough. I am engaged. I will challenge him. I will kiss your hand and so leave you. As you hear of me, so think of me. Go. Comfort your cousin. And they'll say she's dead. So farewell.
Is our whole assembly appeared?
Oh, a stool and cushion for the sexton.
Which be the malefactors?
Mary, that am I and my partner.
Nay, that is certain. We have the exhibition to examine.
But which are the offenders that are to be examined? Let them come before the master constable.
Yea, Mary, let them come before me. What is your name, friend? Ah, Rocio. Pray right down. Ah, Rocio. Yours, Sirrah.
I am a gentleman, and my name is Conrad.
Write down, Master Gentleman Conrad. Masters, do you serve God?
Yes, sir, we hope.
Write down they hope they serve God. And write God first, for God defend, but God should go before such villains. Masters, it is proved already that you are a little better than false knaves, and they will do near to be thought so shortly. How answer you yourselves?
Marry, sir, we say we are none.
A marvelous witty fellow, I assure you. I will go about with him. Come in hither, Sirrah, or in your ear. Sir, I say to you, it is not to our false names.
Sir, I say to you, we are none.
Well, stand aside! For God they have in a tale! Have you writ down that they are none?
Master Constable, you go not the way to examine. You must call forth the watch that are their accusers.
Yea, Mary, that is the aptest way. Let the watch come forth! Master, I charge you in the prince's name, accuse these men!
This man says that Don John, the prince's brother, was a villain.
Write down Prince John a villain! This is flat perjury to call the prince's brother villain.
Master Constable.
Prithee, fellow, peace! I do not like thy look, I promise thee.
What heard you him say else? Oh, no, Mary, that he had received 1,000 ducats of Don John for accusing the lady he wrongfully.
That burglary that was committed.
Yea, by mass, that it is.
What else, fellow? Oh, and that Count Claudio did mean upon his words to disgrace you before the entire assembly and not marry her.
Oh, villain! Thou wilt be condemned into everlasting redemption for this!
What else? That is all. And this, masters, is more than you can deny. This morning is Prince John secretly stolen away. Lady Hero was in this manner accused, in this very manner refused, and upon the grief of this suddenly died. Mr. Constable, let these men be bound and brought to Leonatos. I will go before and take their examination.
Come, let them be opinion.
Let them be in the hands of the coxcomb.
God's my life, where's the sexton? Let her write down the prince's officer coxcomb. Come, bind them. Thou naughty varlet.
Away! You are an ass! You are an ass!
Dost thou not suspect my place? Dost thou not suspect my years? Oh, that she were here to write me down an ass! But masters, remember that I am an ass! Though it not be writ down, yet forget not that I am an ass! No, thou villain, thou art full of piety and shall be proved upon thee by good witness. I am a wise fellow, and which is more an officer, and which is more a householder, and which is more as pretty piece of flesh as any in Messina, and one that knows the law, go to, and a rich fellow enough, go to, and one that hath had losses, and one that hath 2 gowns and everything handsome about him. Bring him away! Oh, the I said bit down and
Bring me a father who so loved his child, who joy of hers overwhelmed like mine. Bid him speak in patience. Measure his woe with length and breath of mine. Let it answer every strain for strain, and thus for thus, and such a grief for such. No, 'tis all men's all speak patience to those that bring under the Lord's sorrow. But no man's virtue is sufficiency to be so moral when he shall do the like himself. Therefore, give me no counsel. My griefs cry louder than advertisement.
Therein do men from children nothing differ.
I pray thee peace, I won't be flesh and blood. But there was never yet philosopher that could do the truth patiently. However, they writ style the gods made a push at chance and sufferance.
Yet, bend not all the harm upon yourself. Make those that do offend you suffer too.
There thou speakest reason. Nay, I will do so. My soul doth tell me Hero is belied, and that shall Claudio know, and so shall the prince and all of them that thus dishonor her.
Here come the prince and Claudio hastily.
Good day, good day. Good day to both of you.
Hear you, my lords.
We have much haste, Leonato.
Some haste, my lord? Well, fare you well, my lord. Are ya so hasty now? Well, all is one.
Do not quarrel with us, good old man.
If he could right himself with quarreling, some of us would lie low.
Who wrongs him?
Mary! Thou hast wronged me, thou dissembler thou. Nay, never lay thy hand upon thy sword. I fear thee not.
Mary beshrew my hand. If it should give your age such cause of fear, in faith, my hand meant nothing to my sword.
Thou hast wronged my innocent child in me, that I am forced to lay reverence by, with gray hairs and bruises of many days, do challenge thee the trial of a man. I say thou hast belied my innocent child. Thy slander hath gone through and through her heart. She lies buried with her ancestors. Oh, in the tomb where never scandal slept. Say, Thistleburst, framed by thy villainy!
My villainy?
Thine, Claudio, thine, I say!
You speak not right, old man.
My lord, I'll prove it on his body if he dare, despite his nice, fancy active practice. His may have youth and bloom of lust, but
away I will not have to do with you.
Canst thou so daff me? Thou hast killed my child. If thou shalt kill me, boy, thou shalt kill a man.
He shall kill two of us, and men indeed. But that's no matter. Let him kill one first. Win me and wear me. Let him answer me! Come, follow me, boy. Come, sir boy, come follow me. Sir boy, I'll whip you from your forning fence. Nay, as I am a gentleman, I will.
Brother!
Content yourself. God knows I loved my niece, and she is dead. Slandered to death by villains that dare as well answer a man indeed, as I dare take a serpent by the tongue. Boys, apes, braggarts, jacks, milksop.
Brother Anthony!
Content yourself. What man, I know them game.
But Brother Anthony!
Come, 'tis no matter. Not you meddle. Let me deal in this.
Gentlemen both, do not wake your patience. My heart is sorry for your daughter's death. But on my honor, she is charged with nothing but what is right and very full of proof.
My lord!
I will not hear you.
No? Come, brother, away! I will be heard.
Damn shall, or some of us will smart for it.
See, here comes the man we went to see. What news, Signor? Signor Benedict, you've almost come to part almost a fray.
We would have had our two noses snapped off with two old men without teeth.
Signor Leonato and his brother, what thinkest thou? Had we fought? I doubt we would have been too young for them.
False Krull, there is no true valor. I came to seek you both.
We have been up and down to see thee, but we are high proof, melancholy, and would fain have it beaten away. Wilt thou use thy wit?
It is my sword. Shall I draw it?
Doth thou wear thy wit by thy side?
Never any did so, though very many have been beside their wit. But I bid thee draw, as we bid the minstrels draw, to pleasure us.
As I am an honest man, he looks pale. Art thou sick or angry?
What courage, man? What thou canst kill the cat, thou is level enough in thee to kill care.
I shall meet your wit in the career, and you charged against me. I pray you choose another subject.
Nay, give him another stab. His last was pro cross.
By this light he changes more and more. I think he be angry indeed.
If he be, he knows how to turn his girdle.
Shall I speak a word in your ear?
God bless me for a challenge.
You are a villain. I jest not. I will make it good how you dare, with what you dare, and when you dare. Do me right, or I will protest your cowardice. You have killed a sweet and innocent lady, and her death shall fall heavy on you. Let me hear from you.
Well, I will meet you, so that I might have good cheer.
What? A feast? A feast?
In faith, I thank you. He hath bid me to a calf's head and a capon, the which, if I do not carve most curiously, say mine eyes not. But shall I not find a woodcock too?
Your wit ambles well. It goes easily.
I'll tell thee how Beatrice praised thy wit the other day. I said thou hadst a fine wit.
For which she wept heartily and said she cared not.
Yea, that she did, but yet for all that, and she did not hate him deadly, she would love him dearly. The old man's daughter told us all.
All, and moreover, God saw him while he hid in your garden.
Fare thee well, boy. You know my mind. I will leave you now to your gossip-like humor. You break just as backwards do the blades, which God be thanked hurt not. My lord, for your many courtesies I thank you. I must discontinue your company. Your brother hath fled Messina. You have among you killed a sweet and innocent lady. For my lord Blackbeard there, he and I will meet. Till then, peace be with him.
He is in earnest?
Most profound earnest, and I'll warrant you for the love of Beatrice.
And hath challenged thee?
Most sincerely.
What a pretty thing that is when he goes in his doublet and hose and leaves off his wit.
He's a giant to an ape, and is an ape a doctor, such a man as he.
Soft you, let me be. Pluck up my heart and be sad. You did not say my brother was fled?
Come in, sir. If justice is not attained, you shall ne'er be more reason for balance. Nay, if you be a cursed hypocrite, once you must be looked to.
How now? Two of my brothers been bound. Rocio one.
To hearken after their offense, my lord.
Officers, what offense have these men done?
Marry, sir, they have committed false report. Moreover, they have spoken untruths. Secondarily, they are slanders. Sixth and lastly, they have belied the lady. Thirdly, they have verified unjust things. And to conclude, they are lying knaves.
First, I ask thee what they have done. Sixth and lastly, I ask what's their offense. Thirdly, I ask why are they committed, and to conclude, what do you lay to their charge?
Rightly reasoned, and in his own division. And by my troth, there's one meaning well suited.
What is your offense, masters, that you are thus bound to your answer? This learned constable is too cunning to be understood. What's your offense?
Sweet prince, let me go no further to mine answer. Do you hear me and let this count kill me? I have deceived even your very eyes. What your wisdoms could not discover, these shallow fools have brought to light, who in the dark of night overheard me confessing to this man how your brother, Don John, incensed me to slander the lady hero. How you were brought into the orchard and saw me court Margaret in hero's garments. How you disgraced her when she married her. My villainy they have upon record, which I'd rather have sealed with my death than to repeat over to my shame. Lady's dead upon mine and my master's false accusation, and briefly I desire nothing but the reward of a villain.
Runs not this speech like iron through your blood?
I have drunk poison while he utters it.
And hath my brother set thee unto this?
Yea, he paid me richly for the practice of it.
He's composed and framed of treachery, and hath fled upon this villainy.
Oh, sweet hero. Now that you must doth appear in the rare semblance that I loved at first.
Come, bring away the plaintiffs. By this time, the sexton hath reformed signorina over the matter. And masters, do not forget to specify when time and place shall serve that I am an ass.
Here comes Signor Master Leonato, and the sexton too.
Which is the villain? Let me see his eyes, that why I know another man like him I may avoid of him. Which of these is he?
If you look for your wrong, or look upon me.
Art thou thy slay with thy breath hast killed my innocent child?
Yea, even I alone.
No, not so, villain. Thou beliest thyself. Here stand up her up, honorable man, a third which has fled that had a hand in it. I thank you, princes, for my daughter's death. Record it with your high and worthy deeds. 'Twas bravely done, if you bethink you of it.
My lord, I know not how to pray your patience, yet I must speak. Choose your revenge yourself. Impose upon me what penance your adventure can lay upon my sin. Yet sinned I not, but in mistaking.
By my soul, nor I. Yet to satisfy this good old man, I would bet under any heavy weight that he'll enjoin me to.
I cannot bid you my daughter live. That were impossible. But I pray you both. Possess the people of Messina here, how innocent she died. And if your love can labor aught in satisfaction, hang her an epitaph upon her tomb, and Sing it to her bones. Sing it tonight. Tomorrow morning, come here to my house. And since you cannot be my son-in-law, be yet my nephew. My brother hath a daughter, almost the copy of my child that's dead. And she alone is heir to both of us. Give her the right you should have given her, cousin, and so dies my revenge.
My lord, your overkindness doth bring tears to mine eyes. I do embrace your offer, and dispose henceforth before Claudio.
Tomorrow morning I expect you come, and tonight I take my leave. This naughty man shall face to face be brought to Margaret, who I believe was packing all this wrong, hired to it by your brother.
No, no, by my soul she was not. Nor knew what she did when she spoke to me, but always been just and virtuous, if anything I know by her.
Moreover, sir, which is indeed not under white and black, this plaintiff here, the offender, did call me ass. I beseech you let it be remembered in his punishment. And also, the watch heard them talk of one deformed. They say he wears a key in his ear with a lock hanging by it, and hath borrowed money in God's name, that which he has due so long and never paid, that now men grow hard-hearted, and will lend nothing for God's sake. I pray you examine him on that point.
I thank thee for thy carrying on his pains.
Your worship speaks like a most thankful and reverent youth, and I praise God for you.
There's for thy pains.
God save the foundation.
Go, I discharge thee of thy prisoner, and I thank thee.
I leave an errant knave with your worship, which I beseech your worship to correct yourself for the example of others. God keep your worship. I wish your worship well. God restore you to health. I humbly grant you leave to depart, and if a merry meeting may be wished, God prohibit it. Come, neighbor.
Until tomorrow morning, lords, farewell.
Farewell, lords. We look for you tomorrow.
We will not fail. Tonight on Lawn with Hero.
Bring you these fellows on. We'll talk with Margaret how her acquaintance grew with this lewd fellow.
Sweet Mistress Margaret, you deserve well at my hand by helping me to the speech of Beatrice.
Will you then write me a sonnet in praise of my beauty?
Most high style, Margaret, that no man living shall come over it. For in most comely truth, thou deservest it.
To have no man come over me? Shall I always keep below stairs?
Oh, it is like a greyhound's mouth which catches.
Yours is like a fencer's foils which hit but hurt not.
Most manly wit, Margaret, and it will not hurt a woman, so I pray thee, go get Beatrice.
Well, I will call Beatrice to you, who I think hath legs.
And therefore will come the God of love that sits above, that sits above, and knows me, and knows me. Help! I mean in singing, but in loving. Leander, the good swimmer. Troilus, the first employer of Pandarus, and the whole book full of these quondam carpetmongers whose names yet run smoothly in the even road of blank verse. They were never so turned over and over as my poor self in love. Mary, I cannot show it in rhyme. I have tried. Could find no rhyme for a lady, but baby, innocent rhyme. School, fool, a harsh rhyme, very ominous endings. Nay, I was not born under a rhyming plant. Nor can I woo in festival terms. Sweet Beatrice, wouldst thou come when I call thee?
Yea, Signor, and depart when you bid me.
Oh, stay but till then.
And is spoken. Very well now. And yet, ere I go, let me go with that I came, knowing that hath passed between you and Claudio.
Only foul words. Thereupon I will kiss thee.
Foul words is but foul wind, and foul wind is but foul breath, and foul breath is noisome. Therefore, I will depart from the place.
Thou hast frightened the mind out of his right mind, so forcible is thy wit. But I must tell thee plainly, Claudio undergoes my challenge, and either I must hear from him shortly, or I will subscribe him coward. Now, I pray thee, tell me, for which of my bad parts did thou first fall in love with?
For them altogether, which maintained so politic a stage of evil that they would not allow a single good part to intermingle with them. But for which of my good parts did thou first suffer love for me?
Oh, suffer love, a good epithet. I do suffer love, for I love thee against my will.
In spite of your heart, I think. Alas, poor heart. If you spite it for my sake, I will spite it for yours, for I cannot love that which my friend hates.
So much for praising myself, who I myself can bear witness is praiseworthy. How is your cousin?
Very ill.
How do you?
Very ill too.
Serve God. Love me and men. And here comes one of you.
Madam, you must come to your uncle. Yonder's old coils at home. It is proved my lady hero has been wrongfully accused. The prince and Claudio mightily abused, and Don John is the author of all who is fled and gone. Will you come presently?
Oh, will you come here this news, senor?
I will leave in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thine eyes. And moreover, I will go with thee to thy uncle's.
Oh.
Is this the monument of Leonato?
It is, my lord.
Done to death by slanderous tongues was the hero that here lies. Death in guerdon of her wrongs gives her fame which never dies. But the life that died with shame lives in death with glorious fame. Hang thou there upon her tomb, praising her when I am dumb. And now music, sound, sing your solemn hymn.
Heart and goddess of the night, those that slew thy virgin night, for the which with sounds of woe round about our tombs they go. Midnight assist our moan. Help us to sigh and groan. Heavily, heavily sigh and groan.
Now unto thy bones good night. Yearly will I do this right.
Good morrow, masters. Put your torches out. The wolves have preyed and looked the gentle day. The wheels of Phoebus round about dapples the drowsy east with spots of gray. Thanks to you all, and leave us. Fare you well.
Good morrow, masters. Each his several way.
Prince and Claudio.
Well, I am glad that all things sort so well.
As am I. Else being in faith, forced to call young Claudio to a reckoning for it.
Well, daughter, you gentlewomen all, withdraw into a chamber by yourselves, and when I send for you, come hither masked. You must be father to your brother's daughter and give her to young Claudio.
Which I will do with confirmed countenance.
Friar, I must entreat your pains.
To do what, senor?
To bind me, or undo me, one of them. Signor Leonato, truth it is, good signor, your niece regards me with an eye of favor.
That I, my daughter, lent her, 'tis most true.
And I do with an eye of love, requite her.
The sight whereof I think you had from me, from Claudio and the Prince. What's your will?
Your answer, sir, is enigmatical. What my will is, that your goodwill will be conjoined with ours this day to be in an honorable state of marriage. Which friar I shall desire your help.
My heart is with your liking.
And my help. Here comes Prince Claudio.
Good morrow to this fair assembly.
Good morrow, Prince. Good morrow, Claudio. We here attend you. Are you yet determined today to marry my brother's daughter?
I hold my mind. If other reckonings. Which is the lady I must seize upon?
The same is she. And I do give you her.
And she is mine. Sweet, let me see your face.
No, and you shall not until you take her hand before this friar and swear to marry her.
Take my hand before this holy friar. I am your husband, if you like it.
When I lived, I was your other wife. When you loved, you were my other husband.
Another hero?
Nothing certainer. One hero did die, but I do live, and as surely as I live, I am a maid.
The former hero, the hero that is dead.
She died, my lord, but while her slander lived.
With all this amazement, can I qualify when, after all holy rites are ended, I'll tell you largely a fair hero's death. Meantime, let wonders seem familiar, and to the chapel let us presently.
Soft and fair, friar. Which is Beatrice?
I answer to that name. What is your will?
Do you not love me?
Why, no. No more than one reason.
Your uncle, the Prince, and Claudio, they were deceived. They swore you did.
Do you not love me?
Troth? No. No more than reason.
Why, then my cousin Margaret and Ursula are much deceived, but they swear you did.
They swore you were sick for me.
They swore you were well nigh dead for me.
Tis no such matter. You do not love me?
No, but in friendly recompense.
Oh, come, cousin. I'm sure you love the gentleman.
Oh, I'll swear to it that he loves her, for here's a paper written in his hand.
Oh, holding sonnet of his own pure brain, fashioned to Beatrice.
And here's another! My cousin's hand containing her affection on to Benedict.
It's our own hands against our hearts, a miracle. Come, I will have thee. By this light I take thee for pity.
Well, I would not deny you, but by this good day I yield upon great persuasion. Hardly to save your life, for I was told you were in a consumption.
I will stop your mouth.
Oh. How dost thou, Benedict, the married man?
Tell thee what, Prince. The College of Witchcrackers could not flout me out of my humor. Dost thou think I desire a satire or an epigram? No. Not if men be beaten with brains and can wear nothing handsome about them. Since it is my intent to marry, I think nothing to any purpose that the world can say against it. Therefore, do not cloud me for anything I have said against it. For man is a giddy thing. This is my conclusion. Claudio, I did think to have beaten thee, but in that thou art like to be my kinsman, live unbruised, love my cousin.
I would have hoped thou wouldst have denied me, that I might have cudgeled thee out of thy single life, to make thee a double dealer. Which out of question thou wilt be if my cousin do not look exceeding narrowly on thee.
Come, we are friends. Let us have a dance ere we lighten our hearts and our wives' feet.
We'll have dance afterward.
At first, to my word, play, music, and Prince, thou art sad. Get thee a wife. Get thee a wife, for there is no staff more reverend than one with tipped horn.
My lord, your brother John is taken in flight and brought with armed men back to Messina.
Think not of him till tomorrow. I will devise thee brave punishments for him. Strike up, pipers!
So, okay, the set. I wanted to build a water feature. I wanted to have a place where there would be water, so that it would look like water, and they would be able to, because there was fountains in a lot of these older established kind of moments. And so I built this beautiful thing, and it's like, okay, I have to show that there's a bridge here. And so I built this bridge over the water feature, which was actually built in. But then it's like, you can't tell that there's anything here from the floor of the stage, from the audience, because it looks flat. So I put in an arch.
Oh, yeah, upstage.
Upstage. And not thinking twice about it. And then I'm sitting out in the audience and somebody goes, "Oh, you getting in a little plug for BVU, aren't you?" And I went, oh, it's like face palm kind of moment, because it was like, that just was like so like, no, because it was like, yeah, it was like one of those moments where the design aspect of it was like, that's what it needed, but at the same time, I would have probably have done something different if I would have thought about it, because it had too much of a tie to BV at that moment. And so it was like, kind of thing. But yeah, that we had to have a heck of a lot of height, because we had a lot of people.
Well, that's it. We had like these terraces that went up towards the back of the stage, and you, if I'm remembering correctly, you had an arch there in the center,
right?
And so people could come in from various
Left and right,
levels, you know.
And then we have the downstage porticos, which has the most infamous name of any picture that we ever took in the history of all of the pictures we took, but it was called the Slut Special. And it was like, it was the time where they're up above and they're kissing, and they have Margaret. Margaret is up above, and it's supposed to be Hero, and so that picture lives in infamy because that was always called the Slut Special.
Well, you have to have it for the plot.
You have to have it for the plot. And but yeah, that was that moment and Doc and I had a heck of a lot of fun time actually designing and building lights on that, because I also built the columns, and then I put lattice work on top of it, so you could shoot through different things and really pound texture into the rest of the design.
Do you remember that this was at a time when costumes, such as they were housed in the basement room underneath the Shaler Chapel stage? And I remember going down there and just searching for things that looked like they belonged in the 1890s. What I do remember very well is when I found the suit that would fit Jed Sparrow, who is very tall, and he had the most beautiful summer suit. I just was like, okay, I've done my job.
It's done. It's over with. So.
Oh, we hope you enjoyed BVU's 2000 production of Much Ado About Nothing. Thank you to our wonderful alumni who submitted monologues and memories of their time in the program. Thank you to all who've supported our program over the years. And finally, thank you to those who are helping celebrate BVU Theater by tuning into this series.
We'll see you next time on BVU Theater Remembers the Wit and Wisdom of Shakespeare in Replay.